Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, I am ranking every single Las Vegas Raiders free agent that is set to hit the open market in 2026. And I am doing these rankings based on the importance of re-signing that player. Let's face the facts here. Our staff last season, from top to bottom, failed at being able to recognize talent, also being able to recognize this team's needs. And I do not want that to happen again, because I know I'm not just speaking this for myself. I know every single Raider fan out there, whether you watch the Raiders Report, whether you rock with this channel, honestly felt that they were smarter than the 2025 coaching staff. No disrespect to Pete Carroll, no disrespect to that coaching staff out there, but I was running laps around all y'all in terms of knowledge of this team. Raider Nation was running laps around all of y'all in terms of knowledge of this team. It just can't happen again, man. It is inexcusable. It is disgraceful. And I'm just up here right now hoping that Tom Brady, John Spytek see this program, because I know I'm not the only one. And if you felt smarter than that coaching staff last season, hit that like button, because my top priorities for the Raiders going into NFL free agency, I said the top 5 players that the Raiders got to try to re-sign were Adam Butler. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. 3-year, $16.5 million deal. Trevon Merrick, I will admit, matching the 3-year, $59 million that Carolina gave him, way too much money. But raise your hand if you sat up here and heard me say, or if you said, we need a free safety. We don't have a free safety on the roster. And we did not do anything about that position all offseason long. Robert Spillane, when you lose your green dot, you lose your leader on your team, and you try to replace him with a Devin White, Elandon Roberts. Don't even get me started on that one. Malcolm Koonce was not nearly as good as what he should have been. And in all honesty, I think Malcolm might have been my biggest swing and a miss on this entire list. And then K'Lavon Chaisson. K'Lavon Chaisson signed a freaking 1-year, $2 million deal. And he's ended up being one of the better edge free agency signings for the New England Patriots. My point is this. I've covered this team since 2018 every single day. I know the roster inside and out. And I also understand when you have all these different coaches that follow all these different GMs and you got all these different players into a meshing point, you might not understand the roster as well as somebody that covers this team. Pete Carroll admitted to not knowing the roster well enough in August. Spytek's presser took a little bit of a jab at Pete Carroll because Pete thought he could win 10 games with this team. And then again, myself and fans were able to point out issues. Why take a running back at 6 overall with this offensive line? When your fans are pointing out stuff left and right and you don't do anything about it and then it ends up being true, please do not get mad at me when I said I was smarter than the Raiders coaching staff last season. You were smarter than the Raiders coaching staff last offseason. So Tom Brady, John Spytek, if you want to know who the top players that we should re-sign are before hitting the open market, I hope you check out this video. So we're going to go from 25, work our way all the way down to 1. 25 is the least important. It's Tyler Lockett. I've seen the hairline. It's time to retire. Let's go to 24, offensive tackle Stone Forsythe. This is another Pete Carroll guy. We have enough offensive linemen. Let's give Charles Grant the extra reps. I have no need to see Stone anymore. Running back Zamir White, Zeus, thank you very much for the past few seasons. We do need to add some running backs in the open market because we really only have Ashton Genty, but I'm not going to spend my money on a guy that can't hang on to the football, that's really only good between the tackles, that can't run between the tackles. John Radigan's going to be another player here, really just special teamer, linebacker, was a Pete Carroll guy for many, many years in Seattle. Coming in here at 21, Kai Blue Kelly. He had a ruptured patella. When you have that type of knee injury, it's never a good sign. Also, what's not a good sign is that Kai Blue Kelly was a starter for the Raiders for the most of the season. If I'm thinking about that he might get worse than what he was in 2025, I'm sorry, it's just not going to be a very high priority for me. Instead, let's focus on let's focus on some of our younger players, like at the Camryn Richardson on the defense, instead of going out and trying to get the most out of Kai Blue Kelly. So here's going to be the pinned comment on today's program. Who is the top Raiders free agent to re-sign? Obviously, my answer is going to be the person that's number 1 on this show. So I'm not going to tell you after this YouTube ad break, but if you could, scroll on down, let me know the Raiders' top free agent you want them to re-sign. Let's go here to number 20. I'm going to go with center Will Putnam. We need some extra help on the interior, though. When Putnam got his opportunity earlier in the season, It was one of the worst showings I've ever seen from a Raiders offensive lineman. I mean, this guy got beat time and time and time again. So bad that Alex Kappa actually looked like an upgrade. Let's go to 19 here. It's going to be Terrell Edmunds. I should also mention that these are rankings also based on not only team need, but how much money it's going to cost to bring them back in. A lot of these players aren't going to cost a lot of money until we really get down closer to like the top 10 list. Edmunds, safety, really just a special teams player. Let's go to cornerback Darnay Holmes. This was somebody that actually started for us at times this season. 27, 28 years old. I've seen enough of Darnay Holmes. Let him go somewhere else. Let him test it somewhere else. If we were to bring back Patrick Graham, which I do not think is going to happen, then sure, maybe we can bring back Darnay. Let's go to 17 here, Charles Snowden. This one's difficult because Snowden is a very well-liked and very well-received player in that locker room. From a talent standpoint, I personally do not think that he's got a lot of talent. The other issue is he had a DUI in 2024. I expect him to get some sort of suspension. It did not happen this past season, so I do wonder if there could be a suspension looming next year. I have made it very clear. I don't want Raiders players that do bonehead stuff, especially after the Henry Ruggs situation. I know Snowden is a good dude who made a bad decision, but to me, if I'm going to be building this roster the way that I want, I don't want a cloud hanging over my head for a guy that's as talented as Charles Snowden. Let's go to number 16 here on my list. It's going to be long snapper Jacob Bobenmoyer. I can't even believe that Bobenmoyer is 16 on that list. You know what that tells me? How bad the Raiders were last season. If your long snapper is this important to you, the only reason why I have him up here at 16 over players like Snowden, Darnay Holmes, and Terrell Edmunds is because of his relationship with A.J. Cole. A.J. Cole is coming off a little bit of a down season. He's our punter. You can make the argument, though, he's one of the best punters in the entire league. So because of that, though, Bobenmoyer might have a little bit of say. And when the Raiders extended A.J., Daniel, and Bobenmoyer, they kind of all did it around the same time. A.J.'s got a brand new deal. And when A.J. signed his deal, it was like a $4 million. It was 4 years, $16 million. He was the highest paid punter in the National Football League. With that type of money, you could get a bunch of GLD chains, which is exactly what I'm rocking here on today's show. Before GLD, there weren't high-quality chains out there that you'd be able to get, but now GLD delivers at every price point. Perfect for gifting or make sure, my wife always says this, treat yourself. GLD's proprietary production process has quality and shine on another tier. Every stone is meticulously hand set. GLD has it all. Chains, pendants, rings, earrings, fully iced out watches, so you can find the perfect gift for anyone or yourself. With over 2 million customers, 50,000 five-star reviews, GLD stands by the quality of their jewelry. Every piece comes with a lifetime warranty. It's literally built to last the rest of your life. Can't think of a better gift to give this season or maybe this 2026 year than jewelry that will last a lifetime. So work hard, change the game, and for a limited time only, new customers are getting an insane deal. Use code CHAT to get 50% off at GLD.com. That's 50% off with code CHAT, C-H-A-T, at GLD.com. After you purchase, let them know where you heard about them. I want you to let them know that you heard it from Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report from Chat Sports. If you do that, I'm going to be able to continue to hook you guys up with amazing deals like 50% off. So that GLD.com link is going to be available all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Huge shout out to them for sponsoring the Raiders Report, and a huge shout out to them for icing me out. Let's go to number 15 here on my Raiders free agent to resign list. I'm going to go with Tristin McCollum, safety. He's 6'3", he's like 195, really just a special teams player, but had some opportunities this season where we just needed somebody in the back end. So if we wanted to bring back McCollum, it would have to be a very, very cheap type of deal. Let's go linebacker Elandon Roberts. I was not impressed really by his play on the field, but if you were to tell me we bring him back at the vet minimum, he is a good leader. He is well-liked. He's well-received. And because he is such a well-respected player in every locker room that he's in, also the fact that our linebackers are just so damn young, Elandon Roberts is going to come in here at number 14. Let's go to wide receiver Alex Bachman. Really just a special teams player. Our wide receiver room is extremely inexperienced. So if you did want to bring in a slot receiver who's just willing to do some of the hard work that you don't really see get put into a box score, Bachman could be somebody that's good to bring in. Let's go to quarterback Kenny Pickett. You traded for him this past offseason. You really don't have another quarterback on your roster outside of Aiden O'Connell. Geno Smith's going to be gone. Kenny Pickett's obviously a free agent. You lost Cam Miller. So if you wanted to be able to bring somebody back cheap, I'll admit Pickett looked awful. And if you don't want to have to draft two quarterbacks, getting a guy like Pickett could be an interesting option. And some of you might be surprised that I'm putting Devin White at 11 over Elandon Roberts. But if I were to bring back Devin White, I would tell him, Devin, do you want to be the green dot linebacker? If his answer to that is yes, I'm going to directly laugh in his face because he is a horrific linebacker, especially if you want to make him a middle linebacker with a green dot. If the Raiders looked at me and said, Mitch, we're going to bring back White, what should we do? You bring him back on a vet minimum deal, and you let him play edge. You let him pin his ears back, and you let him be an athlete. I don't need him covering anybody. There's a reason why he gave up the most receptions at the linebacker position. But if you told me, hey, we're going to play the way we did Jermaine Pratt, we're going to put you at the line of scrimmage, we're going to give you 25 to 30% of the snaps, go be an athlete, go get after the quarterback. I don't need you to set an edge because you can't do it anyway. That's where I would bring back Devin White. So if you guys are looking for more free agency videos from me, from the Raiders Report, you got to hit that subscribe button. If you're like, Mitch, I don't know where the subscribe button is. Underneath this video, big button. Says subscribe. You can click that bad boy. If you're like, man, I still can't find it. I think you probably have a problem finding some other things. I'm not going to get into that. But maybe, just maybe, you can also go down into the description of this show. There's going to be a link, and it says subscribe for more Raiders free agency videos. You can click on that bad boy. A window's going to pop up, and then bingo, bango, you're subscribed to the Raiders Report. Let's go to number 10 here. It's going to be Ian Thomas, tight end. You got Brock Bowers. You got Michael Mayer. We just need to be able to get another tight end 3. Thomas is a good blocker. He was with this unit this past season. For that reason, he's number 10 on my list. Let's go to number 9, Raheem Mostert. Because Ashton Genty and Dylan Laube are really the only running backs on this team, I do anticipate Las Vegas having to add at least 2 running backs this offseason. So could you potentially get a Mostert? This would be ranked higher if we did also bring in a Mike McDaniel as an offensive coordinator. Mostert also provides you a little bit of stability in the special teams game. Like if you were to tell me, do I want to see Mostert or Laube on my roster? It's Mostert over Laube, and it's not close. In fact, I think Laube could end up getting cut. Let's go to number 8 here. It's going to be Dylan Parham. Now, Parham is one of our better players, starting offensive guard this past season. However, I want to be able to upgrade at that offensive line position. And when you look at Spotrac market value, they're projecting Parham to get $10 million. With all due respect, I ain't giving Dylan Parham $10 million. If Parham's willing to sign a Alex Kappa type of deal where it's 2 years, $10 million, $1 million, or $5 million fully guaranteed, I'm a little bit more interested in that to be a depth piece. But with Charles Grant, with some of these other players we have on our team, I just don't really want to bring back Dylan Parham for that price tag. Let's go to number 7 here. It's going to be Daniel Carlson, our kicker. This is probably one of the ones that I had the most trouble with, just debating whether or not I wanted to bring him back, how high of a priority. He played last season at $4.2 million. It's extremely important to be able to find an upgrade at a kicker. If you're unable to do it, or if A.J. Cole said, hey, this is really, really important, maybe then you want to bring back Carlson and just put him a little bit higher on this list. I'm going to go next here with safety, Lonnie Johnson Jr. And the only reason why I am prioritizing Lonnie is from not a defensive stability standpoint, it's literally special teams. And he earned a lot of respect last season when he was able to fight his way back onto the field. He was in his Raiders jersey week 1. I'm telling y'all this right now. He is a very well-liked player in that locker room. And we always talk about offense, always talk about defense. But if you were a Raiders fan this past season, our special teams unit was also one of the worst in the National Football League. So to really rebuild a team the right way, it's important to have certain guys that you can trust on special teams that you know are going to be out there doing their job. I don't want to see Lonnie Johnson playing safety. Don't need to see that. But if I want to see him out there on special teams at a vet minimum type of deal, that's kind of what I'm thinking about there, putting him at number 6. Great locker room guy, great leader, a great person to build this team in the right way. Coming up next here on the program, let's get into the top 5 Raiders free agents to bring back. And again, I'm not sitting up here saying that I'm trying to bring back every single one of these players, though. If you are the silver and black, Tom Brady, John Spytek, I'm looking at you. If you told me you can only bring back 5 players, these are going to be the 5 guys that you need to check out. Let's go to number 5 here. It's going to be Jamal Adams, safety, linebacker hybrid. And if you would have told me that I would want to bring back Adams, I would be shocked because I was not a fan of this signing when it initially happened. But this is a player that, every time he was out on the field, man, he gave 110%. If you were to tell me, Mitch, close your eyes during the 2019 NFL draft when the Las Vegas Raiders drafted Jonathan Abram, I would have sat here and I would have said, okay, Jonathan Abram is what I anticipated Jamal Adams looking like. And Adams is a fiery dude. I don't think that the Pete Carroll, move has anything to do with this. I do think Adams liked his home in Las Vegas. Special teams, linebacker, safety, nickel hybrid. I would like to bring back Jamal. Let's go to number 4. Back-to-back years, Malcolm Koonce has been number 4 on my Raiders free agents to re-sign list. Malcolm, for 80% of the season, was doing his best Where's Waldo impression. You couldn't find him. Then, over the final few games, you could tell that he started to get healthy. I do wonder how much healthier that ACL is, how much healthier that knee injury is, and if you're able to get him on like a 1-year, $5 million deal, I would absolutely entertain that idea of bringing back Malcolm. If it's anything more than $5 million, I'm really not interested. Quite frankly, if the Raiders weren't interested to give K'Lavon Chaisson $2 million, I don't know how the hell you'd be interested to give Malcolm Koonce anything more than that. Let's go to defensive tackle here next. Thomas Booker, the 4th. And actually, I don't know Roman numerals, but I'm pretty sure that's 4. If it's not, all right, Reed goes, yeah, it's 4. Thomas Booker, I want to bring back. Not only do we need help on the interior, the biggest reason why he cracks my top 3, you traded away a young cornerback in Ja'Cory Bennett. Bennett's dealt with a lot of injuries, but this is still a position that we need. So because we moved on from Ja'Cory, I do think it's important to try to bring back Thomas Booker. Let's go to number 2 here. It's going to be Jordan Meredith. Meredith played predominantly center, but that's only because Brendan Carroll is a flippin' idiot, and I could have used a lot of other words than idiot. If you want to use another adjective to describe Brendan Carroll down below, I can't wait to see what you put down there. But the reason why Meredith is on here, yes, we need to be able to rebuild this offensive line. And I think a priority for the Raiders is bringing back Meredith over Dylan Parham. Not because I think Meredith is better than Parham. I think it's an argument at the guard position. But having a player on a cheap contract that you would be able to have as being a backup offensive lineman is critically important. So the fact that he can play guard, the fact that he can play center, Jordan Meredith is number 2 on my list, which means number 1, cornerback Eric Stokes. And this one's really not close to me. I look at Spotrac. Spotrac projects Stokes somewhere around the $7 to $8 million range. If you told me right now I could get Stokes on a 3-year deal, let's say it's $21 million, you give him 2 years fully guaranteed, I would absolutely entertain that idea. And I think Stokes would too, since he played on a 1-year, $4 million deal. This is a Georgia Bulldog, a former first-round pick that's dealt with tons, and I mean tons of injuries. And really, people didn't appreciate the season Stokes had. I don't want to say he took one side of the field away because I do think people just always targeted Devin White. I do think people were like, all right, instead of me throwing Stokes away, I'm just going to throw it over to Kai Blue Kelly. But with how bad our defensive line was and how well Stokes played, that's somebody that I would love the opportunity to try to bring back, where if you brought back a Stokes, you got Darian Porter, then you just got to add one more cornerback into the mix. Stokes is still a player that I believe in. There's not a lot of good free agents that are out there, which is kind of good and bad for us in terms of the guys testing the open market. But if a Raiders fan were to ask me, Mitch, who's the number 1 free agent that Spytek and Tom Brady need to figure out a way to bring back, my answer is going to be cornerback Eric Stokes.